Okay, folks, we are now entering into the penultimate realm of this game. Now, you may recall in episode 1 of the series, I mentioned how later on in the game, we're going to encounter a section in which you have to be very careful about the order in which you do things, because if you do it in an order that the game decides that it doesn't like, you'll encounter a game-breaking bug in which it actually kicks you out of a screen where there's still work to be done on that screen. And like I also mentioned in the first episode, this isn't the type of game where there's pickups that are optional. You need absolutely everything there is in the game in order to complete it. So if you get kicked out of a screen prematurely and can't return to it to gain more objects that you need, you literally just can't beat the game. So I can't remember exactly what it is that triggers this bug in question. But I do know the specific screen where you'll encounter it, and as long as you follow the steps exactly as I outlined them to you, you shouldn't have a problem. But this is such an old game too. Well, not such an old game, but old by Steam standards and by the standards of the genre, that the developers, for them to put out a patch for this bug, it's just not worth it. The bug had been known for well over a year at the time, and the devs hadn't done anything by it, and this game is several more years older than that by this point, so a patch is, I think it's safe to say, not forthcoming. So you're just going to have to make sure to do this properly. With that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so enter into the portal, as we have done every time up until this point. Okay, let's see, the first thing we're going to do, we can ignore these areas over here at first, and we're going to first look in on this sunken, spooky-looking ship over here, and we can use the shuriken on the net up here. And from here we can pick up this shell. Get out of here, and we will now zoom in on this section here. A couple things to do here, but for now we're just going to use the shell that we just got to dig up. Looks like a swordfish. So we can pick that up, or sawfish, it's calling it. Okay, get off of this screen. Let's see. We can zoom in on the skull here for now, and we can pick up this object here. It says it's calling it a clock part. It looks like a shape of a camel. Okay, we'll come back to that later. Now what we can do is we'll zoom in on this section here. It looks like there's nothing here, but it's actually going further into just this open, vast desert here. And, whoa, that was spooky, what just happened. Okay, we can zoom in down here, and we can grab this star chart fragment. There's going to be 3 of these. And then this is one of those sort of segments where you can kind of just clicking on objects in order to clear them away. So we'll just keep clicking until a bunch of them disappear. We can even click on that scorpion to scare it off. And now, once more, use the shell to dig in the spot. Dig away the sand to reveal underneath. We get a clock part, this is the second one, and there's a magnifying glass with some dried up leaves here. So if we click on the magnifying glass, that tilts it downward and focuses the sunlight onto the leaves and starts a fire. Alright, we will come back to that later. Now, I just want to draw your attention here to where we can go from here. There's actually 3 areas. We can't get to them yet, but the idea is that there's something that we have to do for all 3 of these locations in order to gain access. You can see to this pyramid off in the distance here, there's like a big hole that would fall into if we tried to go that way. Same thing, a big hole going off this way. And then over this way, well, I guess it's not really clearly defined pictorially, but just take my word for it, you can't get there yet. But what we can do is if we zoom in over on this tree here, we can do a couple things here. First, we'll get our goblin friend to climb over into this hole in the tree here and pick up an object that's hiding in there. Looks like a golden tooth. Golden fang. Okay, great. And then we can use the sawfish and cut ourselves off some roots off of this gnarled, dried up looking tree here. Alright, so we'll get off of here, and now we can use the roots right here to sort of fashion ourselves a little bit of a bridge. There wasn't a big hole there, but I don't know, I guess we're supposed to take it that this is like, I don't know, maybe quicksand or something, and you can't stand on the sand directly. Anyway, now that we can cross over here, we can access the front door of this building here. And what we can do is pick up right out of the face of that object on the door there, this broken arrow. And you can see here it's got 3 empty slots here, so we've been picking up these things here. So obviously once we find the third one, we can add it to this mechanism here on the door, but we don't have the third one just yet, so we'll get off of there for now. Now we can back up to this screen, back over to that skull in the sand, and now we can take the golden fang and add it to the skull, open up the jaw, and grab the second object there, which is another star chart fragment. Also an instance of something that we've got to find 3 of. So we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for that third piece. Okay, back over to this section here. Now that we've got that broken arrow, we can use that on these sea urchin kind of looking things here. And we can remove those safely so that we can grab the third clock part underneath. Okay, excellent. So, now we can go back up this way, go back up to the door, and what we're going to do is we're going to add all those 3 clock parts, but I'm just going to preempt this because I'm not going to have much time to talk, because as soon as we start doing it, a timer starts counting down. So the idea is that once all these clock parts are added, what we then have to do is select the symbols around the clock face in a particular order. And the idea is that we're trying to find 2 symbols to match to each other that seem as though they make a pair. So for example, the sword symbol clearly fits with this shield symbol. This needle symbol clearly fits with the thread, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll add this clock part, and then this clock part. Okay, so now what we do is we match the sun with the moon. Okay, now the needle with the thread, the ear with the eye, the camel with the pyramid, the sword with the shield, and then this thing, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. I've like stared at that for a long time and can't figure it out, but anyway, that, whatever that is, with this snake here. And now it opens up the door so we can actually go inside, see what's going on here. Ooh, it's sort of like an observatory. It's pretty neat. So wow, look over here. We can't really do anything here just yet, but I'm going to point out this section here just to see there's something kind of going on behind this hazy illusion sort of thing, but we can't even really make out exactly what it is, much less get to it, because it's protected by some sort of magic. So I just wanted to point that out because that's kind of important. We're going to be coming back to that in a bit. We need to find some way of penetrating this magical shield. Anyway, what we can do is if we zoom in over here on this book here, we can pick up this object here. It's an emerald flower. That is very important for avoiding the bug in question that's coming up. Make sure you've got that emerald flower. Okay, we can zoom in over on here, and look, here's a star chart, so you can guess that's where we're eventually going to be adding these star chart fragments. Just for now, though, we want to pick up this torch here that's on the wall. Okay, let's get off of here and leave this area. Now, if we zoom in back over on this tree, we can use the torch and click right here to pick up some of the sap that's oozing out of the tree. Torch with the resin now, okay. And now if we go back over onto our bonfire and add the torch to the fire, that will light the torch. Okay, flaming torch, great. Let's go back a screen. Zoom in on this spider guy here. What we can do is first, to get rid of the spider, we can click on each of these butterflies to free them from the web, so now the spider loses interest and takes off. This is cool too if you notice. There's like a scorpion shape woven into the web. It's really neat. But all for naught, because now we are going to use the flaming torch on the web to burn it away. And now we can grab this shield. Okay, get out of here, go forward a screen, and now that we've got the shield, we can actually use that to fill up this pit here. So now we can cross that area and enter over here safely. This is sort of oasis in the middle of the desert. Okay, so this is the screen in question, or more specifically, this subscreen right over here. Now, I'm not going to get to it just yet. First, I want to draw your attention over to this chest over here. We can't open the chest just yet, but if you click on this pillow here, you'll see underneath are some tongs. So we can pick up the tongs. Okay, get out of here. And we can look over in the tent here. We click on the tent drapes, I guess. I don't know what else you call it, the door for the tent. And we can pick up right here in the bottom right corner the third and final star chart fragment that we've been looking for. Excellent. Okay, get out of here. And now if we zoom in over on this side, I guess it's a hookah. We can pick up, let's see here, we can pick up this colored chalk. and then we can pick up an apple. Okay, and then we can use the tongs that we got and dip into these hot coals up on the top to pick out that star symbol, sun symbol. Okay, now we are about to explore this particular screen, and this is the screen that causes the bug. You've got to be very careful. If you do this wrong, as I said, it'll kick you out of the screen prematurely. You won't be able to get back in to do what you need to do, and then you literally can't beat the game. You can't even progress any further. So here's what you do. Boy, I really hope I don't screw this up myself now, because I'm going to have egg all over my face. But come on, YouTube gods, let me get lucky here. Here's what you do. You zoom in on the screen, okay? You'll see there's a second emerald flower here. Pick that up, okay? You'll see there's this lens sort of thing. Pick up the lens. Looks like sort of the eyepiece to a telescope. It's calling it a lens, okay? Now what we do is we take the one emerald flower that we added, and you see there's 2 emerald flowers missing from the top of this container. So we'll add one, then we'll add the second one that we just got here. Okay, it opens it up, and we've got a ring with a scorpion symbol on it, so we pick that up. And now, before we exit, this lamp here, an oil genie sort of looking lamp, if we click it, right, and then click it again, and then one more time to rub it 3 times, and it spits out this little shard of stained glass is what it's calling it. It's got this weird kind of symbol on it. Okay, and look at that. It kicked us out because we're done. If we didn't do that the way that I just showed you how to do it, it still would have kicked us out the same way. Or if we had exited ourselves, we actually wouldn't have been able to get back in. So make sure, again, I can't stress that it's enough. This is a game-breaking bug, okay? You do not want to get screwed on that screen. As long as you follow everything exactly how I just did it, you'll be fine. Anyway, glad we got that out of the way. Moving on. Let's go back a screen and back over to the observatory. Now if we zoom in on the star chart over here, we can start adding those fragments. There's the 1, there's the 2, and there's the 3. And now that the map is completed, we can pick the whole thing up. Okay. And now, if we zoom in on the telescope, what we can do is we can put the star chart right next to it here. And wait for a second here for some of these constellations to light up. Okay, and now after that's done, we can grab the lens and stick that right into the eyepiece here, which focuses the telescope and lets us see off in the distance this moon here. But it turns out that moon is actually an object that we can collect. It's like sort of a button, kind of. What's it called? A moon figurine. Okay, whatever. And then what we could do, we zoom in back over on the book. This is where we got that first emerald flower, you'll recall. Now we can do a bunch more things. First, if we use the sun symbol in that obviously sun star-shaped impression there, shines a light on the book. So now we can actually see what we're doing here. See, the book is locked by something that looks like a scorpion symbol might be able to unlock. So we use the ring with the scorpion symbol on it, and that opens up the book. And look at that. Now this is talking about how there's this sort of a magic dagger, and I draw your attention back to how I pointed out there was that magic force field. So we need this sort of a magical dagger in order to be able to penetrate the force field. Okay, so this is what it's talking about. In order to access where this hidden dagger is located, we take the colored chalk that we acquired, place it down here, and then one by one we color in that picture of the dagger using each of the chalks. So first we click on the blue chalk, click on the picture, and it automatically fills in all of the blue parts. Then we do the same for the magenta, fills that in, and then do the same with the yellow chalk. And now that the picture is completed, oh look at that, flips over secret page, and the dagger was hidden inside the book all the time. Before we pick it up, I just want to draw your attention here really briefly. This is sort of a clue as to how to power up the dagger, because the dagger on its own doesn't possess enough power to penetrate that magical shield. So this is sort of the clue that it's pointing to here, is that we need to power the dagger up with the power of fire, water, and wind, the 3 elements, and that will all combine to it having this ultimate magic power. So we pick up the dagger. Okay. Moving on. What to do from here? Okay, we can get out of here. and we'll go back over to the oasis area here. If we go back into the tent, we can use the moon figurine on the circle impression on the satchel, and then we'll open it up to reveal a rope inside. Pick up the rope. It's called a lasso. Okay. Let's get out of here. Back a screen. Back over into this ruined building here, where we burned away that spider web, and we can use the lasso on this the bell here, and that rings the bell, and by doing so 2 more objects fall down. First we can grab this camel figurine, and the other is another one of those stained glass shards with a symbol on it. Okay, we've got 2 of those now. Let's move forward again. Back to the oasis, back down on this chest here, and we can use the camel figurine in the lock on the chest. That opens it up, and inside is the saddle. Okay, get out of here, and now the saddle turns out to be the 3rd object that we can use to plug up that hole with, and now we have access to the final area of this realm inside the pyramid. Into the pyramid we go, and now this is really interesting. Here is a glittering gold section, so we know it's a hidden object area, but if we click on it, you'll see that we actually can't do anything because the area is all covered in vines. So we're going to have to do something about that. So let's get out of here for now. I will draw your attention to this fountain here. We can zoom in on the fountain and pick up these bellows here. Now, there's nothing else that we could do just now, but I want to explain kind of what we're looking at here. This is a fountain, but it's like, it's not water. It's like almost like a molten silver, kind of. So we can't just stick our hands in to grab this shield that's there, because the molten silver will mess us up. You know, that's not something that you want to get on your skin, basically. So let's get out of there for now too. If we zoom in on this door here, and this door gains us further entrance into the pyramid, and that will actually be the final screen that we haven't explored yet of this realm. But if we zoom in on the door, there's all these colored Egyptian eye symbols. So clicking on them in a specific order is what will be sort of the code to unlock the door, but we don't know what the code is just yet. However, if we look over on the right here, there is a 3rd and final one of those glass shard symbols, so we can click that to pick it up. Let's get out here, and down here right where the bonfire was there, I didn't point this out before, but there's actually one other area right here that we can go to, and if we zoom in on it, this is weird. It looks kind of like a chalkboard or something on the wall. Very, very dirty. We can't really see it. So if we scroll back and get the fan, we can use the fan to sort of dust it off to reveal what's underneath. And look at that, it wasn't a chalkboard at all. It's sort of like a game board with all these weird pieces with missing, with symbols all over it. So obviously we're going to take the missing pieces that we've collected and added to it. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. And that engages a new puzzle. And the idea is this, that we have to connect the matching symbols. And we do that by drawing a line. However, the lines cannot go diagonally. They can only go on the square vertically and horizontally, and none of the lines are able to intersect with each other. So you have to make sure that you're drawing your lines in such a way that it's not going to interfere with any of the other lines. Also, every of these blank squares can only be occupied by a single line once. You can't have lines layered on top of each other. So the idea is this. First we'll take the easy one, these 2 right here, right? If you just click on that one, just click on it once, that activates the beginning of how you can start drawing a line. So if you simply drag the cursor over onto this square, drag the cursor up to the matching one, and then click again, it connects it, just like that. So we click on this one, drag our cursor up this way, then over these squares, then down to the matching one, click to connect them. That's how it works. So for the rest of them, we draw this line down this way, straight to that one. The symbol straight down here, all the way along the bottom, and then up to the matching symbol there. These 2 guys, again, an easy one, just like that. These 2 axes, okay, we draw the line like this. Okay, these 2 guys, a straight line down like that, and then the last 4 symbols, the matching ones go like this, the double pyramids like this, and then around that symbol like that to allow for these 2 to get connected in the middle. And there we go. And as a reward, we are given a papyrus with a code on it. We are also given a gauntlet. Okay. Enter into the pyramid. Approach the door. Place the papyrus next to it, and that shows us the order in which we have to click on these symbols, the colors. And that's literally all there is to it. So we click just as is indicated to us numerically. The green, the sort of pink, there's like a couple different shades of pink, but the more kind of reddish kind of pink. Then the white, the gray, the teal, the light blue. Oh, we screwed that up somehow. Let's try that again. Green, pink, white, gray, the teal. Oh, I totally skipped the orange. How did I manage that? I skipped the orange. So the orange, then the light blue, then the more purplish kind of pink, then the darker purple, the dark blue, and the yellow. And there we go. Opens it up for us. We can go inside. Hidden object area is right here, so we can explore that and see what's going on here. Fan. So the fan, I believe, is this guy here with all the peacock feathers. There we go. Shell is right there. Scorpion here. Owl is... Where the heck is the owl? It's that symbol there on the wall. Sun is here. Butterfly is there on that sarcophagus. Flower is right underneath it. The lizard is hiding up here. The poleaxe off to the side. Skull, again, it says skull 3. We encountered that in the last realm, so we're looking for 3 similar looking skulls. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Starfish is up top here, and the matches are down here. Okay, and we are gifted an old sword. What we can do now is go back a screen into this hidden object zone and use that old sword to cut down these vines. And now we can start looking for more hidden objects on this screen. So once again, one by one, here we go. Another butterfly. A lot of these screens you have to find a butterfly. I don't know why. Bell, gloves, lantern, hammer, snail. Where's the snail? Right there. Pine cone is here. Oiler, right there. Strawberry down here. Clothespin, medallion, and the brooch is right there. Okay. And we are given the octopus figurine. Alright, let's go back and back. Zoom in one more time on that pirate ship and use the octopus figurine on the ship helm. And now we get to actually collect it. Excellent. Okay. Let's move forward and move back into the pyramid. We'll go back into here, and I will draw your attention up the steps here to the statue looking guy. First, this object we can pick right out of there. It looks like it's called a dragon tooth, so we can use that for something. And right here on the wall is this statue here of looks like a robed wizard with his hands in shackles, it almost looks like. That's kind of a hint for the way that we end up beating the game, and is meant to be basically a graven image of Ashton Thorne, the Dark Wizard. So what we can actually do is dig this object right out of the wall using the sharpened stick that we got in the last realm. So just like that, pulls it free, and oh, look! Look at that! What we've been looking for here. Darkness token. Last token to gain access to the final realm. Alright. Oh, but look at that. Isn't that interesting? All of a sudden, the inside of that sarcophagus walked up, and it looked like inside, it looked like there was another shape that was shaped exactly like the cover to that sarcophagus. And the gate that came down looked like it was being locked by some sort of a round object as well, so we're going to have to keep that in mind for the upcoming realm. But for now, we'll take the darkness token that we just collected, add it to our Amulet of Dreams, and open up the final portal to the final realm. The Dark Realm and the home of Ashton Thorne. Stay tuned till next week.